Hello, ColdSnap crew. I'm John, playtesting your game this week from the Salt and Silver team. I gave your game a quick playtest through. This is actually my this is my third time playing it, but this is the time I'm going to record when I have a couple of thoughts in mind already. But I did my kind of blind playtest to it, and now I'm going to try to replicate some of the stuff that I found, and then also kind of talk about the questions that you specifically wanted answered, which I believe is enemy density, gameplay loop, and I think it was enemy behavior, just kind of the general. Well, I have the note sheet right here. I'll pull it up. The pacing and progression, right? Okay. So let's get into it. First couple things I noticed. These are kind of smaller, but I don't know if this is just on my screen or if this is what the build is doing. This volume slider, I can only assume it's for SFX, but it doesn't seem to do anything. It's also not, censored in here properly. Also, small thing, this does update live, as you can see here, which is cool, but if I mute it and start it again, your soundtrack actually starts over. I think if you slide it all the way down here, you might be having Unreal just stop the music instead of just mute it all the way. And then sliding it back forward starts it again. So this will always restart the soundtrack wherever it is. So just something you might want to look into. Everything else I think is okay, although your brightness, this might be just adjusting your world gamma. I'm not entirely sure. But you might look into post-processing midtones and highlights for having your brightness affect more than just the one gamma channel for shadows. It might look a little bit better, a little bit more of the effect you might be going for. Ooh, I kind of made it too dark. Oh yeah, that's one other thing. Your default brightness is actually not what the game is set to. So if I were to close and reopen the game and then come back to here, the middle brightness is not actually the starting brightness. The starting brightness is like somewhere around here. So just something to keep in mind. All right, let's get into it. Let's do it. First of all, I love your character, by the way. I love the shaders you guys are using, whatever they are. Something about it makes the specular on all your objects look really, really cool. So big appreciate on that. As far as the enemy behavior goes, I'm not entirely sure how I did this, but I was able to get the game into a position where nothing attacked me anymore. I don't know if that's something you guys are already aware of, but it was not. None of the enemies were like attacking me. They would just kind of walk up to me and then get frozen in a kind of a passive position. As far as the progression goes, I feel like for starting out, the enemies have quite a bit of health. It just takes quite a while to kill them initially, and you might want to scale that with either time or generators or something a little bit more leniently. I like this system. This is really cool, where you kind of equip different parts, but I wish I could see which parts I had equipped. I can only assume that equipping a new part, like I just put something on legs. I'm not sure if equipping something to legs removes what I already equipped or if it stacks. There's not a lot of feedback for me to know if that is the case. I can't like see if I have something equipped there already or if it's just adding something on top of it. But the system is pretty neat. And when I hit tab to open my inventory, I can't see. Oh, hold on. Interesting. So it seems like hitting space is triggering something there, like to look at what I have on there, but it only shows the name of it. Oh, I see. You can use arrow keys. I just now found that out. Okay. Interesting. Although it looks like it didn't save what I had on my legs. I'm not sure. Maybe I didn't put it on there, but you might make it so that it frees up your mouse or something for navigating this menu, because it is kind of difficult to navigate that. I think I only found that by pure happenstance there, but your enemy characters are really cool. They do get stuck in animations quite a bit, which makes them a little bit difficult to like judge whether or not the density is good, because they don't really fight you all that much. These guys do. But again, I was able to get it to a point where everything just kind of stopped. Like the generators wouldn't charge, the enemies wouldn't attack, all sorts of stuff. I think that would heal me. Oh, it doesn't. Ooh. Fuel. Is fuel health or is fuel... I'm not sure what fuel is. I don't think the README says anything about fuel. Allow jump during a dash, why not? And dash speed, sure. And I think your dash button is left control. Yeah, you might rebind that dash button. Left control is a pretty awkward button for keyboard controls for a couple of different reasons, especially if you're considering like what the standard keyboard layout is. But it can the pinky is often the finger you want to work with the least as far as keyboard controls go, because it's just an awkward finger to go any lower than shift with, like while you're in gameplay. But I understand you have, I don't know if you've bound Alt to anything yet, left Alt, but that's a pretty solid key to consider for movement, like something like a dash, because it's already so close to spacebar, which you use for jumping already. So having your movement abilities right next to each other might be good. Also notice that my heat doesn't seem to decrease. So then I hit this guy, and yeah, he's charging up this time. I'm not sure what I did to stop it from charging last time, but I was smacking all the enemies around it and it wasn't doing anything. Whoa. I'm not sure what's causing that frame drop. You might look into... Curious. You might have a couple of things running on a tick channel after that generator is done, and that's causing some major screen tearing. Oh yes, motion blur. So motion blur, you might include this as an accessibility setting, but motion blur for fast-paced games is pretty nauseating, especially if you're moving the camera around a good deal. So just consider leaving that as an optional thing, especially when you allow the camera to move around as quickly as you can here. Let's see. I feel like the enemy density is okay. We just aren't seeing like a lot of action from the enemies, so it's hard to know if it's like too much or too little. Okay, so like right here, it looks like they aren't too interested in me. Oh, there we go. Oh, now they're shooting. Oh. I like your enemy design a lot. I think these guys look really great, actually. Your character artist is doing a great job with your graphics programmer to create these looks. I think that's awesome. Charge this guy up. I'm not sure how to heal, or if there is a way to heal, or if it's more like a just kind of keep going until you're dead situation. But also sometimes my attack gets like locked out. I don't think it's a cooldown thing. It's like if you miss or if you hit an enemy and then keep going with the combo, your attack can get, or sorry, if you hit an enemy and keep going with the combo and then miss in the middle of a combo, your attack kind of gets locked out for like roughly 1.5 seconds, maybe 2 seconds. Just something I noticed, like right there, like I couldn't attack for about 2 seconds. Yep, right here again. It probably has something to do with your attack combo logic. Can't attack. The heavy attack feels really good, but you are kind of stuck in place for like a second after it finishes. Like right there it finished, but I am frozen in place for like a solid 3/4 of a second. So it does kind of take the gameplay flow out just a little bit. Let's see. I think I have to kill enemies to charge this up. You might include a little bit of UI. I know on your README it says hit the generator to like start it, or hit the generator to charge it with a certain amount of heat that you need required. But it doesn't say anything about how to actually charge it after you've started it. And I think, I could be wrong, but I think if I start the next generator before finishing that one, I think I soft lock the game because it doesn't let me charge any generators anymore for whatever reason. I think that's what I did last time. Is I ran to another generator, started it, and it like wasn't letting me charge any generators at all anymore. And I think also enemies just like stopped spawning at some point. So I'm not getting that here because we can see generator 3 is charging, but it's something that happened to me twice, so I'm not sure how I did it. But it certainly happened. I wish I recorded it at the time. I didn't even realize what the I didn't realize it was a bug at the time though. But then when I looked back at it and played it the third time, I was like, okay, yeah, that was not supposed to happen. You might also look into the Animator controller for these guys, your animation blueprints. I assume this is Unreal. I mean, well, of course it's Unreal, sorry. The launcher was in Unreal, so yes, this is Unreal. But you might take a look at your animation blueprints and your behavior trees, or if you're using state trees or behavior trees, find out where these guys are tweaking out. right? It seems like every time I kill an enemy with the generator on, the frame rate drops a little bit more. I think you have some logic is running on your enemies when they die, that is recursive. So every time an enemy dies, it stacks one more recursive call onto something, probably on a tick channel. Maybe the generator is constantly checking things. You might look at your blueprints of your C++. I don't know exactly what you guys' workflow is, to find out where that recursive call is, because this is screaming every time an enemy dies. There's something that ticks over and over again for each enemy that has died. So I've killed like maybe 30, 40 enemies to charge generators so far. So I probably have 30 or 40 infinite tick calls going on right now. That's just my guess, because it seems to be what is slowing down the performance quite a lot. Let's see. Because in my first playthrough, I actually just ran around the map killing enemies without trying to charge the generators, just to kind of get a feel for it, and I didn't actually have this problem. But the more enemies that I kill in the generators, the worse the frame rate becomes. So I think it has something to do with like checking if they're inside the heat bubble, and doing something based on that. It looks like at some point the enemies just kind of, they might either A, stop spawning. Oh, I think I know what's going on. Okay, so I think your enemies aren't, they're wandering too far from like their spawn locations, or they're not like approaching the player's position roughly. So when I get to a point where groups of enemies would spawn like right here, they've already kind of wandered off to like different edges of the map. And if you have spawn points set up where it spawns like a group of enemies at a time, I would have to hunt down where like this spawn point of enemies kind of wandered off to, if that's what's going on here. But you can see like they're not too interested in attacking me anymore. I'm sorry for anybody who has to watch this with this frame rate. This is definitely difficult to watch. But you can see when I pick this up. Okay, this is a good hint. When I pick this up, I'm assuming the game went into UI mode, so we're no longer in game mode only, and now the frame rate is totally chilling. Probably because when you're in UI mode, a lot of tick channels freeze for a bit, especially if you have tick channels that aren't set up to work in only game mode or in UI mode. I think by default, most actors stop ticking in UI mode, which is why the game like suddenly kind of works so fast. So you definitely have something going on with maybe with timer handles or with tick channels, something like that. Let's see, consume fuel. I can't tell if that heals me or not. I'm not sure how to recover health. But let me see if I can go ahead and finish this level. I love your art direction, is so interesting. It's very like Borderlands and darker Borderlands colors. I do enjoy it. Especially your characters. Your characters are awesome. But it is kind of, I don't think I'll be able to finish this because it looks like it's not spawning more enemies by this. Maybe I have to kill this guy before it'll spawn more. Oh, okay, he's gone. I'm not entirely sure how that works, but it could be that if there's like another enemy that belongs to this generator or this spawn point, whatever it is, that he's wandered off, and now I have to go find him to get it to spawn more. But oh, you can see the frame rate really starting to drop at this point. It's not having a good time. Let's see, anything else? Yeah, oh yes, your dash, like right there, it's actually very clear. Your dash doesn't stop until you've touched the ground. So if I dash from like up here, I don't know if this is intentional, if this is what you want, but if I dash, I fly above the ground and my dash momentum doesn't stop until I'm grounded again. And if you hit dash and jump at the exact same time, you can actually kind of like fly over the terrain really fast, which is kind of a fun, you know, it could be just a feature, not a bug, but if it's something you want the player to not be able to do, I'll try to get it off. The timing squirts out. Yeah, you can do stuff like that, which is pretty cool, admittedly. But if you want to kind of make your abilities more tight, make your movement more controlled, I would imagine there's a lot of places where the player can kind of bug the game out a little bit by maybe dashing into a slope while jumping and, you know, getting a nice bonk upwards, if you will. The enemy density, I feel like the enemy density could be higher, and you just make each individual enemy a little bit weaker. Maybe if every enemy had like 50% of the health they have right now, but then you doubled or even, you know, yeah, something close to doubled the enemy spawn rate, but just made them easier to kill, I think it would make your world feel a lot more alive, and it would also make the player feel a little bit more powerful. Because, you know, I've got this big hammer, and it's pretty cool, but I don't feel like it like hurts all that much. I just kind of, it looks weightier than it feels. I'll say it that way. I feel like smacking these little crab robots with a hammer this size probably should crush him in like 3 or 4 hits at the maximum, just by, I mean, my hammer is like, oh, I don't know, 4 or 5 times heavier than this guy probably, just by mass. So I feel like bang, 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 and he's dead, kind of thing, and he's still holding on. And then the same thing can be said for the heavy attack, which feels great, but it just doesn't have a lot of feedback to it besides not having a lot of knockback. So yeah, really cool project so far. I'd love to, I guess I can debug, I can go into like debug level 2 or level 3, but I'm having a hard time actually progressing the stages because it looks like the enemies don't want to spawn. Oh, I got under. It looks like the enemies don't really want to spawn by these generators. But cool project so far. Those are just my my thoughts of the game as it stands. So I will go back to menu. One more question. I'm not sure. I didn't see this anywhere in the README, but I don't know what this number is. It's like an angry robot, and it says 2 out of 3. I don't know what that is. I don't know if it has anything to do with the generators. I imagine this is like how many generators I have completed. And maybe this is like how many lives I have, or how many enemies are mad at me. I'm really not sure what this one is, but maybe a little bit more UI feedback as to what some of these numbers mean. This one's pretty clear. Oh yeah, one more thought. I feel like a little bit can be done, maybe a unique shader or unique like layered material on top of your generators to help them stand out from your environment a little bit more. Because I did kind of have a hard time finding them the first time around. I didn't know what a generator was yet, and even when I did find out what a generator was, they kind of blend in with the rest of your buildings. Like that could be a generator over there. It's glowing yellow. It kind of says like, oh yeah, I have like electricity or I have power, because that's kind of what we've established with emissives thus far. It's like if it's emissive, it's powered. Which makes sense for your art direction, but you might make something unique for generators so that they are immediately clear to the player that this is like an objective. This is like something I should be interested in. Because right now, when it doesn't have that bubble on, like when I haven't turned it on yet, it is a little bit hard to differentiate it from like the buildings and structures. And like I thought this was a generator at first, because this looks very generator-ish. It's got coils and stuff on the sides, big yellow boxes and emissives and stuff. It screams, oh, maybe I want to hit this thing. But yeah, I think that's pretty much my last thought. Really cool stuff so far. Looking forward to see how this progresses and goes along. Yeah, thank you very much for letting us playtest your game. Best of luck. Oh, and it looks like these enemies don't want to. Yeah, he's he's had enough. He knows what's up. Anyway, have a great day.